WWE Unreal Season 2, Episode 3, The Vision, is officially here. So by the way, I'm sorry guys that I didn't get a video out yesterday. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I was just too tired. I was too tired to record. And I also just didn't feel like watching the rest of the episode because I got too tired. So that's basically why I was late to this video, but it's here. I finished the episode, and I'm recording it now. So, yeah. But let's hop into it. So we start at WrestleMania 41 this year. They show Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman aligning with Paul Heyman at WrestleMania 41. You know, the double turn. Seth says Paul Heyman has always been a Seth Rollins guy. Paul Heyman says that Seth Rollins has been the best wrestler since 2012, and he's just entering his prime. Which is a crazy saying. Triple H said that they've been planting seeds for months to align Paul and Seth up. And even though Seth hates the both men that Paul was representing, it's basically like Seth is finally embracing the dark side and the evil side. So, yeah. Paul Heyman says the double turn at WrestleMania was not about him, but the future of WrestleMania and who's going to main event WrestleMania 5 years from now. So that was basically the opening segment to Unreal The Vision Episode 3. And that right there got very, very hype as soon as possible. Like, boom, hype. So, let's hop in to the full episode. Triple H says that it doesn't matter how you get to the apex of this business, which is WWE, but it's a step-by-step process of climbing a ladder of success. And says storytelling, character development, all factor into the success. He also adds in creating moments, creating an image, and something that fans want to see. He says he doesn't care if they give you 30 seconds on TV, and if you can make those 30 seconds count to make the fans want to see you again, you're climbing that ladder. So, yeah, that was basically the beginning. But we move on to Mexico to see Penta. Penta talks about it doesn't matter if you cry, you fall, or any of that. You just have to get up and dust it off. And he says that in wrestling, you start at the bottom. And he said that it took him 20 years to get to the top of the pyramid, which is WWE for him. So yeah. Michael Hayes says that you're always looking to check all those boxes in WWE. But he says that you have to produce emotion to connect with the audience, and Penta brings exactly that. Michael Hayes continues saying that we didn't have that on the roster, and that's what the audience was looking for. So Michael Hayes praising how good Penta is with connecting with the audience. Chelsea Green says that Penta, talks about... Chelsea Green talks about her infamous match with Penta, says that Penta pushed her out of her comfort zone and did things she never thought she could do. And, we go to Florida and see the construction of the house that Chelsea Green, her dream home, that she spent nearly 2 years designing. So, yeah. Anyway, Bruce Pritchard says that you could put Chelsea in any storyline in anything, and it would just be 10 times better because Chelsea's in it. And honestly, Bruce Pritchard is kind of right. Kind of right that, it doesn't matter what storyline you put Chelsea in, it's just better because she's in it. We move over to Fort Worth, Texas. Pretty sure this is a week after Mania. And we move on to the Chelsea Green Zelina Vega Women's United States Championship match. And Chelsea talks about how she felt dropping the title to Zelina did not feel right and thought she was going to have a way longer reign. And she wanted to do more with her reign. And she had way more planned for the reign too. But she said instead of getting upset over it and reacting out of anger and emotion, she didn't let that happen because she says this ain't real. And at the end of the day, she has a husband and a whole other perfect and great life outside of WWE. So Chelsea spits some facts and basically tells us again that this is not real. And it doesn't matter what happens in the ring. It doesn't matter what happens in the wrestler's life inside the company. It just matters what happens outside. We move over to the WWE HQ for a creative meeting. Yeah, I think creative meeting. Where Road Dogg pitches that they should change the title back to Chelsea. And where Triple H says, well, if you do that, who is she going to work with? And Road Dogg's like, I don't know. Chelsea just got something to her, She just got something to her. And then Triple H starts naming off the wrestlers that Chelsea would work with. And she says, Zelina Vega, Michin, B-Fab, that anyone above that, like Alexa Bliss, Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, she gotta lose to. Which, by the way, what I learned from this episode and like the last two other episodes is Road Dogg doesn't know exactly what he's doing. He's like, if Road Dogg was the only one in charge of creative and was booking this stuff, this guy, bro, WWE would be literally unwatchable. He said that we should put the title on Chelsea, and he has no idea who she would even work with. This guy needs to get out. Fire him. Why is he... Oh my god, bro. He is a Road Dogg is terrible. He sucks. Like, awful. Like, Road Dogg needs to leave. Anyway, Chelsea Green said she was sick for like 8 days before her match with Zelina at Saturday Night's main event. And, they show, Chelsea Green getting checked by WWE Medical and stuff. And then we move on to the actual match, and they're showing their recaps, and then the part where Chelsea broke her nose. And the finish to the match where Zelina retained. We go backstage, and we see Zelina and Chelsea talking, and Zelina got told by the 619 that Zelina was told that her 619 broke her nose, and she felt so bad for her when we moved to the gorilla position. But yeah, anyway, she shows a scar of how many the broken noses she's had. She said this is like her 7th, maybe 5th broken nose she's had in her wrestling career. And you see the scar right there. Also, she says, she also said that she gets, the doctor says she gets another broken nose. She will have to get surgery. So, that's fun. But we go back to WWE headquarters, on April 3rd, and this dude named Ryan, were where they were like basically setting up the early stages of Seth's group division, and then Triple H was like, well, what do we call this group? Like, what do we call it? Like, Seth is the visionary, so is this his vision? And then Bruce Pritchard basically says that sometimes a creation of a group like the Vision is key to elevating younger talent. Seth says that Braun Breaker covers a lot of the intangible pieces of the industry. So yes, yeah, and then Paul says, anyway, this shows Triple H talking to Braun. After the before his match, I think this is probably after. I think this is either before or after his match at Mania. Say tomorrow you're gonna spear Roman after blah blah blah. And he said no. Like he was like, oh wow. Anyway, we go over the day after WrestleMania. We see the turn. We see them two align. We see the spear, and we see them align. We all know the process by this point. And Paul Heyman says the turn the Monday after Mania was just as important as the turn at Mania. Triple H says Bronson Reed is in there because Seth Rollins is a guy who you would have to consider one of the most dangerous men on the roster. And Seth's vision is that Braun and Bronson are megastars 2 to 3 years from now. So, yeah. Bronson Reed says there's a pecking order and there's people down there, in the middle, and at top, and he was always close to the top, but he couldn't break through. But he was very fortunate to get this opportunity to break through to the top. And Braun Breaker says he wants to be at the top, and he wants to be viewed as a Roman, a Seth, or a Punk. And says this is part of how you get there. But we move on to Penta. And Penta says he wanted, since he was a kid, he always wanted to own his own lucha school. And Penta named all the... Anyway, yeah, and then they showed, some kids training to become a professional wrestlers. Hey, Penta, I'm not saying can I train at your school? You know what I'm saying? I don't really want to, actually. You know what? I did like a one. Never mind. I don't think I need to train, actually. I don't want to get beaten. Anyway, we move over to Money in the Bank Los Angeles. And Penta starts naming off all of his opponents he faces for Money in the Bank, like Solo, LA Knight, Seth Rollins, El Grande Americano. And says he's very excited about the match. Chris Park, a.k.a. Abyss, was going over the ending of the match with Triple H, about how, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Triple H says, instead of what they were going to originally do, he says, how about we have them both climb the ladder, have LA Knight and Seth face to face, they start punching each other, boom, LA Knight knocks Seth off the ladder, then he grabs, you get that big moment, LA Knight grabs a briefcase, then he gets pulled down, stomp, then Seth wins, and creates that big moment, thinking that, oh my god, they're finally going to give LA Knight that big moment, right? And honestly, Triple H was 100% spitting. If that was the ending of that Money in the Bank match, the men's Money in the Bank match, I feel like the crowd, and especially the moment, would have been way bigger if the ending went like it should have, right? LA Knight, Seth Rollins, their face off. LA Knight knocks Seth off. Boom, he falls to the ground. He grabs it. You think he's about to actually finally do it. Then Knight gets pulled off. Stomp. Seth says, ha ha ha. Climbs the ladder. Boom. Would have been way more exciting and more unpredictable that way, I feel like. And definitely would have been way more exciting, and I feel like a bigger moment for LA Knight. So, yeah. But we go to the match, and they show the spots of Andrade, Penta, the Mad I'm fighting, and of course the ladder getting dropped on the nuts of Andrade. They were laughing backstage. That was pretty funny. I won't lie. That was hilarious. I would laugh too. I was laughing too. And then Seth, says that, he likes everything perfect. And he also hates Money in the Bank matches. But after the match was over, the producers were not happy about the ending of the match because it did not go like they wanted to. And of course, when LA Knight got backstage, Triple H was talking to him and says that's not what was originally planned. And if you went with the original, what was originally planned, the crowd would have gone a way bigger reaction, and it would have been a way bigger moment to you. And I think right here is the moment where LA Knight realized, dang, I messed up. This might affect my position on the card. Like, he says, oh my god, I might never get that big moment now. Like, I feel like that's what he's thinking in his head right now. Like, oh, shoot, I messed up. That's not where I wanted to go. No, I can't have this happen, right? I think that's where LA Knight's thinking right now. I could be wrong, though. But Chris goes to Triple H and says, I'm sorry that the ending of the match was just terrible. And Triple H said, no, it's not your fault, it's the performer's fault. You can't go out there and do the spots for them. Which he's right. Triple H is right here. This is not the producer's fault. This is the talent's fault, because the producer tells the talent the ending of the match, and the talent have a couple of options. A, you follow what the producer said, follow the exact ending of the match, or you don't follow it, you do your own thing, and the producers get mad because it's not the ending they want. So yeah. But 1 week later, Penta, or Paul Heyman says they got something with Penta, and that Penta has a very good connection with the crowd. Anyway, we move on to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. During Night of Champions, we go to John Cena versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship. And we see Punk call a referee down, which was Seth, and then we see the big boom where Charles Robinson got flushed out of the way. Bronson Reed taking his bump. We see the low blow failed, and Seth tells the story that he stomped Punk. He tries to win and capitalize, but John capitalized, throws Seth out, takes the win, and walks out with the WWE Championship. And of course, after the match, John Cena was checking on Charles Robinson to make sure he was okay, because that spot was crazy. But that was pretty much it of Unreal Episode 3, The Vision. I thought this episode was interesting, and also very interesting that about the men's Money in the Bank finish, and LA Knight messed it up. Though I don't know who messed it up more, right? I don't know who messed it up more. Did LA Knight mess it up? I feel like maybe Seth and Knight both have a part in it, right? Because first off, LA Knight was a little bit slow on getting in the ring, and instead of climbing the other side of the ladder, having that face off with Seth and LA Knight, and you knock Seth off, and LA Knight's about to grab it, but then he gets pulled off, and he just pulls Seth off, hits him with a clothesline, and he climbs up. Seth comes down, boom. I feel like it's both of their faults, because let's be honest, Seth knew the ending of the match, and if Seth knew that ending of the match, he should have, uh, he should have gone to the other side and done the same thing. He just should have done the same thing. He should go on the other side, climb the ladder, and they still have the face off, right? But I feel like it's both their faults. But I will say mostly LA Knight's fault because he should have not pulled Seth off the ladder. He should have just climbed the ladder to have that big face off. But not everything goes according to plan. Not everything goes according to plan. But I do agree that it would have been a bigger moment if we got that LA Knight Seth Rollins face off on the top of the ladder. I agree that would have been a way bigger moment, way more exciting, and a little bit more unpredictable, I would say. But yeah, what do you guys think in the comments below about Unreal Episode 3, Season 2? Anyway, have a beautiful rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Bye!